I first got thinking about polar bears when I ran into this fella hiking on a trail one time. And he had made it his life goal to try to see all of the wild things before they became extinct. And he had traveled to places like Asia and Africa and so on. And that made me think about polar bears. So we're heading up to polar bear country. Let me give you a little long-time, old-time poem that I've adapted about the North. There are strange things done in the land of the midnight sun by both the brave and the bold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see, and it gave them quite a scare, was the time Don Barnett traveled to the north to find the polar bear. Pretty good, eh? I should have been a poet. Okay, let's go and see if we can find a polar bear, and not just find the bear, but see a little bit about its habits and its characteristics, and about its death struggle that it's in to survive in this ever-changing planet. Okay, let's go find us a bear. Come on. Okay, we're on the coast of Hudson Bay at Churchill, Manitoba. The first thing we saw was the big grain terminal elevator. The railway was built to haul prairie grain to the seaport here. Signs and statues make you aware that polar bears are the big draw here. Churchill is the only town I know of with a big bylaw that says vehicle doors must be left unlocked. But with bears sometimes in town, it has saved lives and injury. Then we spotted this sign. Again, no bears yet. You can see the open blue water line in the distance. The bears hang around waiting for freeze-up so they can walk out on the ice to find a seal breathing hole. And finally, it will be feast time again. It's been a few months since a good meal, and the bears are hungry. It was a damp day with a chilling wind. It takes only a few days for the bay to freeze over. The water is already at the near freezing point, and the water is less salty than in the larger ocean. These factors make freeze-up come almost in an overnight. Bear tracks! Aha! We're close now. Let's follow them. This is where I acted as a real gentleman. Chivalry is not dead. I've always adhered to the ladies' first rule, so I told my wife to take the lead, and I'd be behind her. I just didn't say how far behind her I'd be. However, her scowl told me she was declining my offer. It was indeed a big bear, probably a male, as males often are twice the size of females, and his footprints were equal to the length of a gauntlet glove we placed in the snow. Then we heard the gunshots. We watched a park ranger chase a bear out of town by firing a gun into the air to scare it away. Next time was our turn to see bears. We finally boarded those big tundra buggies that are made right here in Churchill. The bears bury under the snow or lay in the low bushes to avoid the wind, waiting for the bay to freeze over. Once the bay is frozen, the seals have to search for cracks and breathing holes. Bears can smell seals and their breathing holes for over a kilometer away. The bear walks out on the ice, the seal comes up for air, and the waiting bear finally eats. Global warming in the Arctic is twice the pace to the rest of the world, and it is predicted that the Arctic ice will be gone by the year 2040. No ice means that the bears cannot get out to eat the seals, and extinction for polar bears seems eventually imminent. The seal population is healthy, but the bay freezes over later each year, so the bears have to wait longer for the ice, and it increases chances for bear-human conflict near towns. Later ice, shorter season, means less food, less stamina. Females breed only every 3 years, but they used to consistently have 2 or 3 cubs. Now, often they have a single cub, sometimes none. The bear population is on decline. Males outnumber females on a 3-to-1 ratio. Fights do occur over females, but they are seldom fatal. Global warming is now seeing grizzly bears moving north. Some have killed polar bear cubs and have bred their mothers, creating a new hybrid bear that no one is really too sure about. Male polar bears will also kill cubs to remove any competition and then breed the mothers. Polar bears are huge. The first one I saw was under a mound of snow. When it came out, breaking the snow away, it looked like a small house rising from the snow. This chart compares the sizes of bears. Note the size of black and grizzly bears, number 2 and 3 on the left. Compare them to the polar bear, number 6, that is nearly twice their size, which is about the height of the 1.86 meter or 6 foot human on the far side, on the right side of the picture. Lifespan in the wild runs on average 15 to 18 years. Their skin is actually black. The only black part you can see, however, is only on their foot pads and their nose. The black absorbs the sun's heat and helps keep the bear warm. Along with the layer of fat that is under its skin. And did you know that polar bears are left-handed? When sneaking up on an unwary seal, the bear covers his black nose, the only part the seal might notice against his white hair and the white Arctic snowy environment. The bear covers his black nose with his right paw, rushes the seal, and clobbers the seal with a swipe of his left paw. Canada's polar bear population at 60% or more is the world's largest. The bears molt their entire skin annually every May and June is another interesting point. And also they tend to swallow chunks of meat and do very little chewing. Their wide hind paws, partly webbed forepaws, and oily, water-repellent, non-matting fur enables the bear to swim for days at a time and is therefore considered to be a marine animal because it spends most of its life either in the water or out on the ice. Bears will find shelter wherever it is available, and empty houses in town are no exception. Windows are barred or covered with plywood, with nails sticking out to discourage any bear entry. I was about to try the doorknob on this bear-proof door when my wife yelled a warning. Don't step on that doormat. She saved me from a trip to the hospital for a tetanus shot. I was asking, I guess, like a dumb tourist in bear country. So what is being done to help the bears in their current losing struggle for survival? Protected areas for denning, feeding, and resting are being designated in various places throughout the Arctic. Rather than just shooting bears near communities, human patrols are being organized to scare off bears, like the one that we saw in Churchill with the forest ranger with his gun. Bears can also be transferred by helicopter to more remote areas. But that would be too expensive often to do when there's too many bears like in Churchill. So problem bears get treated like problem people. They go to jail. This Quonset building is the bear jail in Churchill. Problem bears were kept inside cages inside the building. This is a typical homemade mobile bear trap used by many conservation officers. The trap is baited at one end. The bear smells the food, goes inside, and the trap door bangs down, shut behind him. Once the bay freezes over and all bears are heading out across the ice to find the seal holes, the problem bears are transported to the sea edge and released to join others in their long-anticipated seal hunt and feast. These days, storage containers out of steel and electric fences are becoming more in use. Better management practices for garbage and dog food disposal are also occurring. In contrast, I worked in an Arctic community years ago, and we just carried the garbage out onto the ice, into the bay, and when spring came, the ice melted and the garbage disappeared. But thankfully, we've got better practices going on now. You know, I made a point in one of those travelogues about Mexico that you learn a whole lot more when you walk around the place. And that's what I did when we were in Churchill before we left. And I found out a number of things, one of which was tourists go to Churchill for more reasons than just to see polar bears. And so I'll put that... I'll post that again, in a week or so. So hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up or down, and hit the bell, and you'll be notified automatically on your computer when I post subsequent travelogues. Okay, we'll see you then.